Okay, we're going to be looking at finding the equation of a parabola that passes through 3 points. Now, the key to this kind of a problem is we're actually going to be using systems of equations with 3 equations and 3 unknowns. So, if I'm given 3 points, remember these are your x's and these are your y's. So I know what x and y is, and I'm going to plug it into the general equation for a parabola to figure out what a, b, and c are. Those are my 3 unknowns. So plugging in -3 in the equation, I get 9a minus 3 times b gives me -3b. There's nothing to plug in for the c, so it's just plus c equals -32. Now I'm going to plug in -1, -10. -1 squared is 1, so I get a minus b plus c equals -10. Then I'll plug in 2. I get 4a plus 2b plus c is equal to -7. Now, if one of the points you are given is 0, then the nice thing about that one is we know what c is. C is instantly whatever the y-intercept is. So if you get that, that just makes the problem a little bit easier. But we're going to work with problems where you don't get the y-intercept because those ones end up being a little bit simpler to do. Here's a technique that works really well with this. If I take this middle equation and change its signs, and just rewrite the other equations, or just change the signs right here and work it. When I combine the top 2 equations, the c's will cancel. When I combine the bottom 2 equations, the c's cancel. That makes it go a little bit easier. So I get 8a minus 2b equals -22. Then I get 3a plus 3b is equal to 3. Now what happens a lot on the parabola problems is that you can reduce these equations. See how these are all even? I'm going to divide them all by 2. This gives me 4a minus b equals -11. And this one I could divide them all by 3. Give me a plus b equals 1. This makes for an easier system to solve. Now in this case, this system is nice and easy because I can just add these two together. I get 5a is equal to -10. So I know a equals -2. So now I know what that term is. Next, I'm going to go back, plug into one of these equations. This one's a little bit easier. So I can solve for b. I get b equals 3. Then I plug back into any of these 3 equations. So I plugged into the bottom one, but I could have plugged into the middle one. I could have plugged into the top one. Doesn't matter. In fact, you can actually plug into multiple ones just to kind of check to make sure after you get your answer. It's a good idea to do that. So I got -8 plus 6 plus c equals -7. So I got -2 plus c equals -7. So c is equal to -5. Now be careful not to stop right here, because the thing is you need to actually write the equation of the parabola. So make sure you plug back into the original equation. Okay, let's look at one more example. So I'm going to use the same equation plugging in. So again, -2 squared is 4. So I got 4a. -2 times b is -2b plus c equals 16. Plugging in 1, I just get a plus b plus c is equal to -5. Plug in 3. 3 squared is 9, so we get 9a plus 3 times b plus c is equal to 51. Again, I'm going to take this middle equation and change its signs. That way when I combine these two together, my c's cancel. So I get 3a minus 3b equals 21. Notice these are all divisible by 3, which makes it a little bit easier. Combine those two together, I get 8a plus 2b, c's canceled, equals 56. These are all even, so I'll divide them all by 2. Now, when I add these two equations together, the b's will cancel. I get 5a equals 35, so a equals 7. Then I could take the a equals 7, plug back into either one of these equations, and I get 7 minus b equals 7, so b would have to be 0. I get 28 plus b equals 28, so b equals 0. And then go back to any of these equations. In this case, I think the easiest one is that middle one. So 7 plus 0 plus c equals -5. Subtract 7. I get c equals -12. and then I just have to write out my equation.